Hey, good day, everyone. Welcome to the Bert Salazar Show. My name is Bert Salazar, and I'm going to be your host for this short video today. This is episode 190. And one of the questions that I normally get from clients that have received a letter from the IRS because they do owe money to the IRS, whether it's 1 year or several years, the vast majority of clients that I deal with owe money to the IRS for several years. One of the questions that I normally get is who can actually represent the client in front of the IRS. And obviously, there are a number of people that can do that. Actually, some minority of individuals that can actually do that. The first one would be you yourself. So if you get a letter from the IRS because you owe them $100,000 for the past 3 or 4 tax years that you filed, you owe them $100,000, you can negotiate directly. Now, what it means to negotiate with them directly, and I normally say this all the time, is like bringing a knife to a gunfight because you're going to lose most of the time. Because the IRS understands the Internal Revenue Manual, they understand it well. Their revenue agents are trained on that manual. And if you've never looked at that manual and you don't understand what the manual looks like or where to find it, then chances are you're not going to be very, very successful, but you can try. You can do that yourself. And I have had, I would say over the last 3 or 4 years, I have had at least 4 or 5 clients that attempted to do it themselves, and they got to the point where they could no longer do it. So they went ahead and contacted our firm from that perspective. So you can represent yourself, but I highly recommend against it because at the end of the day, not only are you not savvy enough to understand tax law, you're more than likely not savvy enough to understand the tax resolution planning process that the IRS Enforcement Division uses in order to collect money. So and it's very, very convoluted from a business and technical standpoint. Now, the second group of people that can represent you in front of the IRS would be attorneys. Now, you have to be very careful with the attorney. So you're going to be a real estate attorney is not going to be able to represent you in front of the IRS. A litigation attorney, someone who specializes in criminal law is not going to be able to do that. A tax attorney will be able to represent you in front of the IRS, and they may be able to help you. I would argue that most law firms don't have a tax resolution planning department. Some of your bigger tax firms do, but they can be very costly to you as an individual client that owes money to the IRS. And on top of that, you may have that additional debt in order to hire legal representation from that perspective. You can obviously reach out to CPA firms. Most CPA firms, except for the major ones, don't do tax resolution planning because it's a very structured process, and the people that do it very well and do it every single day, so they understand the process quite well, as opposed to a traditional CPA firm that may do bookkeeping, they do quarterlies, they do taxes for their clients, P&L statements, and what comes with bookkeeping, and then they file small business taxes and so forth. So they're so busy in that area that they don't pay attention to tax resolution. Normally, some of these firms refer business to us because they don't want to deal with this type of specialty from that perspective. And then last are enrolled agents. Enrolled agents is the oldest certification by the IRS. It goes back to, I think it's 1888. And what's really interesting about enrolled agents is the vast majority of them have a very good understanding of tax law and tax planning, but they also have a very critical understanding of tax resolution planning because this is really what we do. Can a tax practitioner who's not certified by the IRS be able to help you with tax resolution planning? The answer is no. So unless you're going to be representing yourself, or you're going to hire a CPA or an attorney or an enrolled agent, no one else is going to be able to help you when it comes to your tax liabilities because of all the intricacies that are involved in the process of, resolving your tax issues amicably with the IRS. So I just want to tell you, if you get a letter from the IRS, just don't set it aside or sit on it. Make sure you do something about it. For those of you that may want to reach out to us for additional information, my name is Bert Salazar, BERTSALAZAR. Again, Gables Tax Planning Group, and we're a tax planning and tax resolution firm. And we also solve your tax issues by stepping into your shoes and by acting as your legal representative in front of the IRS. You can also send us an email at BERT, at Gables Tax Group, and we'll be more than happy to schedule a Zoom video conference with you for 20 or 30 minutes to kind of answer any questions that you may have regarding this process. So once again, thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time, and always remember that our job here at Gables is to kind of help you change in the way that you see things, because when you change the way that you see things, the things that you see change. So once again, thanks very much, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.